Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Pompberry, and today we're in my living room because I'm going to be making pumpkin juice while I smack talk JK Rowling and the Harry Potter movies. So the reason I wanted to make pumpkin juice is because I'm listening to all the Harry Potter audiobooks and they mentioned pumpkin juice like every 5 pages. Okay, maybe not, but still, they mention it a lot and it made me want to have pumpkin juice. And I've never been to the Harry Potter park, so I've never tasted what their pumpkin juice is like. But I read some recipes online and I'm kind of gonna follow them, but I might alter some of the quantities of the ingredients because like it's a loud airplane. I might be altering some of the quantities of certain ingredients because one of the recipes I saw calls for a lot of apricot nectar. Why are you looking at me like that? See, this is why I don't like filming with someone else in the room, because I always say things like 5 times until I get it right, but then I edit it to look like I didn't mess up at all. So one of the recipes calls for a lot of apricot nectar. Apricot?
Tomato.
Either or? Okay. And I would rather it taste more like pumpkin than apricot, so I might not use as much of the concentrate or nectar or whatever it is. But since I wanted to do something Harry Potter themed, I also wanted to talk about how JK Rowling is problematic and how you can still enjoy the series without supporting her, without giving her a dime of your money. So yeah, let's start measuring ingredients and then I'll slowly start talking about how we can do that. How we can not give up something from our childhood because turns out the creator is a giant pile of garbage. Okay, so I got myself a pan because you will have to simmer everything for the flavors to infuse. And before I start measuring stuff, I just wanted to explain why I'm dressed like this, why I've got the wig on and everything. These are my glasses that I wear every day, as you guys know, and they're pretty much Harry Potter glasses, so I figured I'd draw a little scar on my forehead where it belongs, in the middle of the forehead, and looking like a lightning bolt instead of a weird S like they did in the movies. But anyway.
Didn't it look like it did on the covers of the books?
His scar in the movies? No!
On the cover of the books,
it's a lightning bolt.
Oh, it's multiples?
Yeah, because that's what a lightning bolt is. Lightning bolts aren't an S or a Z, I guess.
I thought it was
His just does one little.
I thought that was what it looked on the books.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Even on the otter on my shirt. Look, it's like zzz.
Oh yeah, and it's in the center.
And in the logo, it goes zzz.
Oh yeah.
See? So my shirt says Harry Otter. There's an otter on it. It's great. And I'm also wearing Hogwarts themed pants. It's got the different house crests on it. And then I'm also wearing Harry Potter socks. Oh! They're little cute socks. And I've got little Harry Potter earrings, which I'm pretty sure my friend Jimena gave these to me. I think these are all the Harry Potter things that I had. And then I'm wearing the brown wig because of Hermione, because she's my favorite. I wanted to do like a little mashup of the characters. So okay, let's get to measuring and let's get to talking about JK Rowling and how to still enjoy Harry Potter. So the base of the juice is basically apple juice, but I chose to use apple cider because it's got a little bit more flavor to it, a little bit of a kick, I guess. Obviously, the pumpkin puree, which you can make yourself at home by either steaming or roasting some pumpkin, but I'm just using the canned stuff because I've had this can in my cupboard so long and I need to use it. I'm just gonna start by opening this guy. And the reason we're in my living room instead of my kitchen is because my kitchen is really awkward to film in and doesn't have great lighting, so that's why we're here. I prefer this setting. I feel like it fits the theme a little bit better. This can opener, I've talked about it before, it's kind of super great. It doesn't get dirty, it doesn't touch the food that's in the can. You open pretty much like around the can and then you lift the top off like a lid. Oh, I should have gotten a spatula, huh? Hold on. Okay, I've got my spatula. I'm just going to scrape all the contents of this can into the pot. So why is JK Rowling problematic? If you've never heard this before, if you're living your life thinking that she's great and all that, well, it turns out she's not. She has tweeted a lot of transphobic things, like a lot. And then she recently came out with a new book under a different name. She used, I don't even know which name, but under a different name, where the I don't know if he's the main character, but the plot line is that a man dressed like a woman is a serial killer or something along those lines. So it's pretty bad. She's said a lot of like really terrible things to the point where Daniel Radcliffe came out and spoke against her and against her statements. And I believe other actors from the movies came out and denounced her for her transphobic comments. And for me, it kind of all started going downhill when she started pandering to the LGBTQ community. And I say pandering because she came out saying, yeah, of course Dumbledore's gay. Except she didn't write any of that in any of the books. When she had the chance of showcasing stories from his youth in the new Fantastic Beasts movies, she didn't showcase any of that part of his life. So she just said, oh yeah, he's gay, without actually being inclusive in her work and actually showcasing gay plot lines and storylines and things like that. So she was pandering without actually showing up for the community. Okay, so now that you know why she's a horrible piece of garbage human being, you'll understand why I don't want to give her any of my money. But at the same time, Harry Potter was a huge part of my childhood. I read the first 4 or 5 books multiple times. The last few ones, I only read them once or twice. But I grew up with the book launches, and I remember being super excited to get the newest book. And I remember the midnight launches that bookstores would have. They'd throw launch parties and stuff. I unfortunately never got to go to one. I always really wanted to, but I always bought the book as soon as it came out. My dad was the one that got me into Harry Potter, so we would share the books and we'd kind of compete to see who would finish reading them first. He always read way faster than me, so he would always finish the book by the time I was like in the middle of it. But onto our next ingredient. So I'm basing myself off of 2 recipes, like I said. One of them calls for 8 cups of apple cider. The other one calls for 3 cups. So I'll do something in the middle, maybe, like 5 cups, I don't know. So you can imagine my excitement when the movies came out. I was so excited that I would get to see like my favorite characters on screen. And I did watch the first 2, I believe, in theaters. And as a 10-year-old, I absolutely hated them. I hated them with every fiber of my being because I just thought the first one was such a bad adaptation. They left out one of the main plot points, which is you spend the entire story thinking that Snape is evil, only to find out that he helped protect the stone in the end. And they completely remove that from the movie. And so you finish the movie still thinking that he's a bad guy, which completely changes, you know, your outlook on that story. So I hated it. But I also really identified with Hermione because I had the brown bushy hair, the big front teeth, and I was like a know-it-all in school. And I was like super excited to see her on screen. And then when I watched the movie, I saw that they made her really pretty and they basically gave her the Hollywood treatment and they made her hair mildly wavy at best. And it just got smoother and smoother as the movies went on. So that was just like a huge blow to me as a kid. I just thought if that's what they think that puffy and like quote unquote ugly hair is, what would they think of mine? You know, that kind of thing. So I was just really bummed as a kid, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna waste my time on these movies. And so I didn't. And so I think I watched the first 2, and I think I watched the 4th one. I just have a vague recollection of really disliking the second Dumbledore, so I must have watched the 4th one, but that's it. Okay, now what else do I have to put in here? I put, I think, 4 cups of this, which seems good. I'm gonna taste this, we'll see. I'm gonna put half a cup of the apricot. I might even put less, I don't know. I might grab a spoon so that I can taste this as I go. I just got this cutest little spoon the other day in like a monthly subscription box thing. I got it basically because of this spoon. So I'm gonna use it to try this out so far. See how pumpkin-y this juice is. Oh, it tastes basically like apple juice. Yeah, I don't really get the pumpkin that much. Yeah, I'm afraid of adding this and then it just completely overpowering everything, but anyway. But since I'm re-listening to all the books through audiobooks, I decided to give the movies another shot. I figured as an adult, maybe I'll be more forgiving. Now that I'm a part of the film industry, I understand how certain things work. I understand why certain decisions are made. And so I figured, you know what? I'll probably be more understanding. I'll probably be more forgiving. So far, I'm on the 4th movie. I watch them in chunks because I don't have time to just like sit down and watch a movie. So like I'll watch bits while I'm like having lunch or whatever. So right now I'm on the 4th movie and I've hated them all. It just is what it is. Okay, so I put in 1/4 of the apricot nectar. Okay, that's good. I think I might do the full 1/2 cup. Why not? Might be a little overpowering. I don't know. We'll see. And then the only thing I'm missing is vanilla essence. I ran out, unfortunately, but I do have all the spices needed. So you could use pre-made pumpkin spice mix, or since I do have the actual spices, I've got cardamom seeds, I've got cloves, I've got the actual cinnamon sticks and nutmeg. So I think I'll be using the actual spices rather than the mix, and I'll let it infuse over the fire. It also calls for 1/2 cup of brown sugar, but this to me is already sweet enough as is, so I'm not going to be adding any more sugar. I suppose you could if you wanted to, but this already is plenty sweet for me. So one of the recipes calls for 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. The other one calls for 3/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon ground nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon ground ginger, a pinch of ground allspice. I'm just going to take, I don't know, like a little, like 10 pods. Is that too much? I don't know. I'm just gonna stick them in here. I'm gonna do 1 clove because cloves tend to overpower things. Yeah, 1 clove is probably more than enough. 1 stick of cinnamon. Oh, I haven't used cinnamon bark in so long. Oh, there's no scent to them. Oh no, I might have to use the ground cinnamon because there's like no scent to these. Well, you know what? I'll use 2 of them, and then if you still can't taste it, I'll use the ground cinnamon. And then we've got some dried ginger. This I will use the powdered stuff, so I'm just going to sprinkle some of that in. That was probably too much. I like my things very well spiced, so it's fine. And then we've got allspice berries, which we keep in this pepper grinder, but I'm just gonna grab, just like a little handful, little pinch. You know what? Just for good measure, I might add some pumpkin spice. Just sprinkle it here. Just for good measure. Because why not? Have an extra oomph. And then we shall put it over the fire to simmer. They say to heat it up until it boils, and then you just leave it to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. I just realized I forgot the nutmeg, so I'm gonna go grate some over the pot. Okay, now that that's simmering, I'm gonna get back to the movies, and I'm gonna get back to how you can still enjoy everything without supporting JK Rowling. So while I do dislike the movies because of their adaptation choices and their casting choices, I'm not a huge fan of some of their casting choices, and that includes Daniel Radcliffe. I'm sorry to say. I do like him as an actor. I like him in other movies. I have no problem with him as an actor, as a person. I think he's a great person. I love that he came out and spoke up against JK Rowling regarding trans rights, but I don't think he was a great Harry Potter. Maybe the thing that I'm most focused on, I guess, is the character design choices. Like, I hate that his hair was slick straight when that's a huge thing, where Harry's hair is supposed to be completely messy and crazy and uncontrollable. And also the fact that they put his scar to one side of his forehead. And I know that JK Rowling approved all these choices. Don't think they were good ones, because I grew up looking at the book covers as reference, and I loved the illustrated book covers. I think they were great. So yeah, I might be nitpicky, but I feel like as a kid, when you love something so much and you get so excited to finally see it represented, I got really bummed because I thought that the movies didn't do the books justice, because the books were so great in my opinion. And I feel like I kind of maintain that opinion to this day. The books are way better, and I know that's usually the case. Usually the books are better than the movie and whatnot, but there's ways of doing great adaptations. Just look at Lord of the Rings. They are amazing adaptations of much denser books. So it can be done, and it can be done well. And you can also look at The Hobbit, which was a disaster of an adaptation. I like to pretend that The Hobbit does not exist. And those are 2 very clear examples of what a great adaptation is and what a garbage adaptation is. But anyway, so far, as I said, said, I'm on the 4th movie. I just started it, so I haven't gone too far. The 4th book is a lot bigger than the previous 3, so there's a lot more ground to cover. So they just kind of ignore the first half of the book in the movie, which I understand for time's sake. That I'm not mad at. You know, I know that things are going to be cut out. What I dislike though is, why did they change Dumbledore's character design? I understand that the first actor passed away and it was so unfortunate. He was such a good actor. He was such a perfect Dumbledore, okay? I know that I'm smack talking the movies, but I did really like some casting choices and I really did like some aspects of them. It's not all negative. I thought the first Dumbledore was absolutely perfect. And then for the second one, he has this really like angry energy about him, which I don't understand at all. And obviously that was the actor's choice to portray him like that. But what I don't understand is the character design. Why did they cut his beard down to here and his hair is also shoulder length? Like, they nailed it with the first Dumbledore and they're literal wigs. Like, why didn't they just make him the same wig? Or have him wear the same wig? Like, I don't understand that. But anywho, I still have to finish watching the movies to kind of form my final opinion, I suppose. So I can do like an updated video if you guys are interested. Oh, another thing before I forget. Harry's fucking eyes, okay? So I complained about them in my stories on Instagram, and a lot of people said that Daniel Radcliffe actually had an allergic reaction to the contacts, so they left his eyes blue. But my first question is, why couldn't they CGI his eyes green? Second thing is that I've been told that Lily's eyes are brown in the movie. I'm sorry, what? You couldn't cast someone with eyes to match Daniel's, or give that actress contacts, or CGI their fucking eyes? I know that these are little details, but as they say, the devil's in the details. The little details are important. And I feel like his eyes aren't a little detail. They literally bring his eyes up every 20 minutes, being like, you look just like your father, but you have your mother's eyes. So I feel like it's not such a small detail. But other than that, I'm going to cease my judgment on the movies because I haven't finished watching them. Oh, okay, no, last thing I remember I wanted to talk about. Mad-Eye Moody. His face is supposed to be completely disfigured, covered in scars and marks, like not a single inch of skin without scars on it. He's supposed to be missing part of his nose, and then they gave him 3 scars. One here, and then one across his chin. Like, that's it. Ooh! Oh shit. Oh no, I got distracted and it's overflowing. I need to reduce this and simmer. Oh, that is not good. Oh boy. I'm gonna reduce it to very, very low heat and let it simmer. So back to Moody. I know that removing a part of someone's nose would be extremely difficult. I wouldn't expect them to actually do that. A lot of people said, well, they removed Voldemort's nose, they could remove Moody's nose. Well, I feel like removing something entirely is a lot easier than removing just a part of it. So I understand them not doing anything to his nose. I wasn't expecting them to, but at least give the guy a full face of prosthetics. Like, come on, put those makeup artists to work. So I'm kind of really disappointed in that, but let's talk about the positives. I love the casting for the first Dumbledore, as I said. I love Professor McGonagall. I love Hagrid. I think Hagrid is so spot on. I think he's a lot more emotional in the books than in the movies. Like, he cries a lot and it's so endearing, but he's still just as lovable in the movies, I think. I love Neville Longbottom. The twins are okay. I think Ron is okay, even though he doesn't really match the description of the Ron in the book. He's not like tall and lanky or anything, but I think he's a really good Ron. Hermione, I don't know. I'm honestly undecided on Hermione. I'm just not convinced about her acting as Hermione, but I haven't made my mind up yet on that one. I'm kind of indifferent to her, I guess is a better term. Mrs. Weasley, I think, is great. Malfoy is fine. Lucius Malfoy is fine. I think most of the casting is fine. There's just like those that they got really, really spot on. And then Daniel would not be my first choice. Obviously, everything I'm saying is my personal opinion, so feel free to disagree with me. I don't expect anyone to agree with me whatsoever. I'm just letting you guys know. Because I started posting about Harry Potter stuff and a lot of you asked my opinion, so here it is. But how can we enjoy Harry Potter without giving JK Rowling a cent of our money? So for example, if you want to read the books, I personally still have my books from when I was a child. So these are the first and only copies I've ever had. I've kept all of them to this day. A lot of you probably haven't. I know that holding on to books isn't something that you necessarily have space for, or, you know, any other reason. I still have my books, so if I ever want to read them, I don't have to buy them again. If I did want to reread them, I would either buy them secondhand or I could borrow some from the library. That way, you're not supporting JK Rowling. If you buy them from a used bookstore, you'll be supporting a small business. Now, unfortunately, because of my job and everything, I don't have time to read physical books. I only have time to listen to audiobooks, and that's what I've been doing. And I've actually been borrowing audiobooks from my local library. So that's something that a lot of people don't know that you can do, but you can borrow ebooks and audiobooks from your local library. Maybe not everywhere in the world, but where I am in Los Angeles, if you download an app called Overdrive and you create an online account with the Los Angeles Public Library, you're able to borrow ebooks and audiobooks for free at any time. So that's how I've been listening to them. There's actually a really long wait list to listen to these books. So I finished the first 3 and I wouldn't be getting the 4th one till a month from then. And so I went online and I was like, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire audiobook streaming or whatever. I went on Google and there's actually websites that host the audiobooks for you to listen to online. And I actually really liked the version that they had on the website that I found because it was a version read by Stephen Fry, and I absolutely love Stephen Fry. The ones that I get in the library, they aren't narrated by him, but unfortunately I did find that it was missing one of the chapters. Actually, it wasn't the 4th book, it was the 5th book, my bad. It was missing one of the chapters, and so I had to wait for the library book, and I borrowed it, and now I'm listening to it through the library again. But that's one way. Instead of paying for them on Audible, just borrow them from your local library or stream them online. If you like the movies and you want to buy the movies or you want to watch them, if you're not subscribed to a service that streams them, but if you wanted to buy the DVDs and you don't want to give JK Rowling any money, you can buy them used at a local used DVD store or bookstore that sells DVDs or something like that. So buying used is always an option. You can buy local instead of ordering from Amazon, for example. As always, supporting businesses is super important, especially right now. Not a lot of small businesses are making it through this pandemic, so I've been doing my best to just shop local whenever I can. And what about if you want to buy merchandise, if you want to buy clothing? If you want to dress up wearing Harry Potter things, well, there's always Etsy that has a lot of handmade merchandise. Another thing is you can make your own merch. You can make your own things. You can crochet or knit your own scarves. You know, you want your house scarf, you can knit it. You can learn how to knit. How great would that be? You would be gaining another skill and you'd be creating something that represents your love for these characters and these stories. There's a lot of indie brands as well that do non-official licensed merch. So you can support small creators and small businesses by buying either handmade things from Etsy or through indie smaller brands. I'll leave some link down below. I've definitely gotten stuff off of Etsy before for merch, and that way you're supporting artists and you can still showcase your love for these stories, and they are amazing stories. And it's super unfortunate that JK Rowling has the opinions that she has, because you wouldn't think that she would have these opinions if you read these books. These books are all about empowering the people that are powerless, empowering the outcasts of society. And I know they've helped a lot of people while they were growing up that today JK Rowling marginalizes and doesn't think these people should have any rights. So it's super unfortunate. And I'm glad that these stories were a part of my life growing up. They meant a lot to me. They were a way of me bonding with my father. They were a way of me bonding with friends of mine. I used to play Harry Potter with my friends during recess. We'd grab twigs and pretend they were wands, and we'd cast spells and things. So when I think of Harry Potter, I have really fond memories of these stories and what they mean to me. And also seeing myself in Hermione was really great. Why am I gonna start crying? I'm not gonna start crying. But seeing myself in a badass character like Hermione was really great. I felt super empowered as a little girl, seeing a character that was a goody two-shoes and that wasn't traditionally pretty and that could use her wits to help people. I don't know, that was just something really special to me. And it's not something that I want to just cut out of my life, but I do recognize that I have to be critical about, you know, this whole situation with JK Rowling. I want to still cherish these memories and these stories, but I don't want to put money in her pocket. So I will continue to love these stories, like I know that many of you still do. I'm just going to do it in a mindful way, where if I want to buy like a Gryffindor patch, I'll buy it from a small embroidery shop on Etsy rather than Hot Topic. And I remember a time before the movies came out where we had access to merchandise that was purely illustrated. It was amazing. I had a t-shirt of Harry playing Quidditch where it was a beautiful illustration of him reaching out for the snitch. I actually have a really good example of how I wish the merchandise was still based on the books right here. So when I was a kid, I bought the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone Mystery at Hogwarts game. So this is basically Clue, but at Hogwarts. And the board is a gorgeous illustration of the inside of the castle. All the cards are illustrated with the characters and different items and things. And this is such a fun game. I mean, you've probably played Clue, right? This is exactly Clue. It's just not officially licensed Clue. But this is great. You have to figure out who did it with what spell and where in the castle. The little player tokens, the little wizard hats, like everything about this game I love so much. And growing up as an artist, I loved having things like this, that they were just beautiful illustrations. So this is a piece of merch that I cherish to this day. Ooh, the juice is done. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Oh, shut up. Oh, this smells good. Now, I'm gonna grab a little spoon or something. I'm gonna remove the foam. I'm gonna remove the stuff that's in here. Now I'm just gonna skim the top to remove the foam. And I'm also gonna strain it so that I can take out all the spices and things that I added in here. Even though it seems like most of them are floating to the top, but I'm still going to strain this. Now I think I might actually let it cool off a little bit while I continue showing you the Clue game, and then I'll strain it and pour it into the pitcher. But as I was saying, this was something that I truly, truly loved as a kid. Then I grew up, I met Adam, I married him, he has kids, and they have an officially licensed Clue, the classic mystery game, Harry Potter edition, and it's based on the movies. And this one, it does have illustrated elements, like the board is all illustrated, but the pieces have pictures of the actors, and even the illustrated parts are just kind of like sketches. So I don't know, you tell me, which one do you think had much more work put into it in the design element of it and the execution of it? I think this game is gorgeous and fun, while this one, it's just fun. And I felt like after the movies came out, that happened to every kind of merch that you could get your hands on that was Harry Potter related. I remember going to the Warner Brothers store when those still existed and buying Harry Potter merch pre-movies, and the merch was amazing. Everything was beautifully illustrated. There was so much creativity put into those items. And then after the movies came out, all they did was slap pictures of the actors on everything and called it a day. So I'm also a little bitter about the movies because of that, because I wanted to buy things to celebrate my love for these books, and then I couldn't find those things anymore. I could only find things with the pictures of the actors on them. But I guess that's just how the world works. You turn something into a movie and the movie gets much more attention than the original source. But anyway, I just feel bad for all the kids that didn't grow up pre-movies. You guys missed out on a lot of cool clothing and merchandise and stuff. So okay, this is still pretty hot. I've got my little strainer thingy and I'm just going to, oh god, this is like too heavy for me. I can't do this. Hold on. I've been working out. I should be able to do this. Okay, whoa. It doesn't go through the strainer. It's like so thick that it doesn't go through. Okay, whoa, that is a lot of pumpkin puree. Okay, maybe I can't strain it. So I'll have to look out for the little things in there. And in the books, they always drink this cold. Always drank cold, served on ice. But I feel like this has such warm spices that you could totally drink this warm as well. Maybe add a little bit of whiskey into it or something. It would probably make a really great wintertime drink. I'm going to put this in the fridge. I might try to throw some ice in here just to kind of lower the temperature a little bit. And then I'm gonna stick this in the fridge. So yeah, I'm gonna cool this off so that I can drink some iced pumpkin juice. You know what? I said I wasn't gonna add any sugar to it, but I just tasted it and there's a little too much acidity in it for my taste. So I might add a little bit of brown sugar, just a touch while it's still warm, so I can make sure it gets dissolved in the juice, just a smidge. I think honey would go really well in it as well, or even maple syrup would probably be amazing in it. Should I do that instead? Huh, maybe. Let's see. To cool it off quicker, I actually put it in a bowl with cold water, and I put a couple of ice cubes in there. I should have put more, but I want to have some ice cubes for when I go to drink this, and I don't have a ton right now, so I'm going to probably switch this water in a little bit once it gets warm. That's just some ideas of how to cool this quickly if you need to do that. Stirring or mixing also helps to cool things down, so I'm going to do that for a few minutes. Now I'm just going to pop it in my fridge for, I don't know, an hour maybe more. So I'm gonna leave the juice in the fridge for a while. I would like to leave it for an hour or two, but unfortunately it's gonna be dark out soon. So I might remove it before then because I want to get shots of it with natural lighting if possible. I did add a little bit of maple syrup to it and also a little bit of brown sugar. So now I'm just gonna hang out while I wait for it to cool down. I cannot wait to try this. I have found that if you let it sit for too long, it'll start separating because of the pulp content in it. But let's try this out. And I put it into the only goblet I had to try to stay in keeping with the books, even though I know they weren't glass goblets, but... And now it's time to try. That's interesting. Can't really taste the apricot, which I think might be a good thing. You can definitely taste the apple. It's not too spiced, and the pumpkin's definitely there. I think the predominant taste is the apple though, but you definitely get the pumpkin kind of at the end. The first taste you get is apple, and then the pumpkin comes right after. I think this is really nice. It's really refreshing, and I can totally see myself drinking this warm as well, with maybe a little hint of alcohol in there if I really need to warm up. And this, like dressing up, is something that you can also do to celebrate your love for Harry Potter. I think one thing that would be really awesome to do is like a holiday feast, Harry Potter style, with a big long table and a bunch of candles. I think that would be something really cool to do with friends. Obviously, when the pandemic is over, I do not mean this year, but here's to you guys and to enjoying Harry Potter while still being mindful of the way you choose to support it. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I'm gonna finish drinking my juice because it's quite tasty. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, even though it was completely different from anything I've done here on the channel. Let me know if you'd like to see more stuff like this. A lot of you have said that you would like to see me bake, so maybe I can incorporate other like little cooking videos here and there. This wasn't exactly cooking, but you know what I mean. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all my patrons who support me, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. I just took off my wig and everything, and then I realized that I never talked about the Fantastic Beasts movies. No, I will not be watching them, because in my opinion, they're just a money grab. They were purely made with the intention of getting people's money and for no other reason. So I have no intention of watching them. I won't be giving my opinion, but again, if you do want to watch them, I would highly suggest getting them secondhand if you can. Wow, my hair just came out of that wig and it looks... You know what? It actually looks the way Harry's hair should. Totally messy and unruly. So I guess it works. Okay, so I'm watching the 4th Harry Potter movie, and this is the type of stuff that pisses me off. I'm at the first challenge right now. So basically in the movie, he went into the first challenge without a game plan, whereas in the book, he literally practiced for weeks, or like a week at least, how to summon his firebolt, and that's literally the first thing he did as he stepped out to meet the dragon. He summoned the firebolt, he waited for it, and then he flew around and grabbed the egg. And he was, I think, the fastest one to grab the egg. The scene in the movie is taking forever, which one, wastes time, and so they're not able to add other scenes into the movie, and 2, isn't accurate at all. He went flying off with a dragon all over around the castle. The dragon landed on top of the castle's roof. He fell off his broom and landed on the roof as well. Like, what is going on? Why are they wasting so much precious time on something that does not need that much time? He was literally the fastest one to grab the golden egg. By adding all this stuff that doesn't happen in the book means that they're not adding things that do happen in the book. And that's what's really frustrating. In the book, he literally gets one cut from the dragon, and that detracts points from him because he got injured. very slightly, but in the movie he's getting the shit beat out of him. What is happening? I understand that they're making the scene really dramatic to really drive home the idea that the Triwizard Tournament is really dangerous, but they didn't have to do that. They could have done less. And why are both the Patil sisters in Gryffindor? I don't understand.